The battle cry, "Remember the Alamo," stood as a beacon of hope against oppression and tyranny, inspiring generations of Texans and Americans that have come since. This phrase is forever embedded in the fabric of our history, embodying our quest for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Alamo represents the Wild West, the undiscovered country, the manifest destiny, and our need to expand from Atlantic to Pacific. The Alamo was built in 1744 as a Spanish missionary post. In 1822, Mexico finally got its independence from Spain after being inspired by the Americans gaining independence from Britain. The northern territory, called Tejas, was very underpopulated, and they invited the Americans to come and settle. As the American population grew in Texas, they wanted more freedoms from Mexico. Tensions began to rise, and the Mexican government started to crack down on the Americans. In 1832, General Santa Anna is elected as president of Mexico. Unhappy with the conditions in Texas and the uprisings that are going on there, he basically destroys the Constitution for Mexico and turns it into a dictatorship. The centralist government wanted all the people that lived in the Mexican territories to become Mexican citizens and to assimilate to the Mexican culture. Unhappy with the new centralist government, the American settlers revolted in the Battle of Gonzales. This started the Texan Revolution. By February of 1836, the Texans had occupied the small outpost called the Alamo after defeating the Mexicans at the Battle of San Antonio de Bejar. The outpost was small and had a small garrison of troops there, only about 100. The commanders knew that they would never stand a long siege more than 4 days, so they sent for reinforcements from neighboring communities. Humiliated by the defeat at San Antonio de Bejar, Santa Anna set out with 5,000 troops to reclaim the region and to squash the rebellion. They laid siege to the Alamo for 13 days. They were repelled twice prior to that, and on the 13th day they did a full-on assault, killing all 186 men who were defending the outpost. This included Jim Bowie, who was famous for the Bowie knife and was co-commander of the Alamo, William Travis, who was also the other commander for the Alamo, and Tennessean statesman Davy Crockett and all of his volunteers who came. But there has been some debate upon how Davy Crockett actually died. Some say he was captured, and others say that he fought valiantly to the end. Motivated by the massacre at the Alamo of the Texans fighting there, Texans across the region joined the battle, and in 1836, in April, the Battle of San Jacinto took place, led by Stephen Austin. The battle cry, "Remember the Alamo," inspired the troops to defeat Santa Anna, capturing him and forcing him to give the state independence.
The Alamo, San Antonio, Texas.
The Alamo site prohibits photography inside any of the buildings on the complex.
We're out in front of the Alamo outside.
something outside.
Right, why don't they put a cover?
The lawn barracks contains a lot of historical documents and artifacts that were from the Alamo. They also have reproduction uniforms for both sides.
Not sure.
And you can just pull up the top flap, and then it's like crisscross. You can just, oh, it's so cool. So you barely, yeah. It just makes it so much easier because, like, if I didn't have nurse, I actually pull my tool chute up. So I didn't. Fancy compression.
To the town and to the Alamo, they've got 6 cannons in their possession.
This is one of the demonstrations at the Alamo about the artillery used
The
there.
Mexicans, they have about 21 cannons in their possession in the town and in the Alamo. And from December 5th through December 10th, you have what's the Battle of San Antonio de Bejar. The Texian army, they drive the Mexicans out of the town and out of the Alamo, and so they end up capturing all their guns, of course. So at the end of December 1835, the Texian army now has 32 cannons in their possession, and they bring them all into the Alamo. Now, on January 1st, 1836, an expedition leaves here, and they take 2 of the Alamo cannons with them. Now, in mid-January, a man named James C. Neal, he is the commander of the Alamo. He sends 3 cannons to the town of Gonzales and 3 cannons to the pursuit.
We are walking right behind the gift shop, heading to the
And this
mall
building over
behind,
here is the gift shop.
leading to the convento. The theater, the national park set up for tourists to familiarize themselves with the Alamo history.
Another demonstration area where they actually fire off some of the weaponry used. The building to the left next to the fountain is where they house the Bowie exhibition. Unfortunately, we cannot videotape in there. It's prohibited. Most of the materials in there are in private collections and are copyrighted. The current exhibition tells the history of James Bowie and the Bowie knife and the Bowie family.
Part of American history.
So that does it for today at the Alamo. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you get to San Antonio, make sure you stop by and visit. It is free unless you want to take one of the actual guided tours or one of the audio tours.